Hello, welcome back to the breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you are watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm back with another update coming out from the war between Russia and Ukraine, and I've got a ton of huge news to brief you all on today. So today's date is May 5th, 2025, and it's Monday. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Hope you all had an awesome weekend. We've got a huge week of news coming up, and I've got a lot of things to cover in today's video. We're going to start off talking about the Russian economy. Here's a new report here on your screen. Ukraine's intelligence service predicts Russia is in an economic crisis. Next week, Kremlin plans to raise its budget deficit by 250% from $12 billion to $42 billion as expenses far exceed revenue, according to Ukraine's intelligence. Russian economy enters crisis mode. Okay, so I have a huge report that I want to show you guys. It actually came out late on Saturday evening, but I was not here yesterday, so I want to kind of briefly cover this starting out in today's video. And I have several other reports as well, also on X, that I want to show you guys talking about Russia's economy. It is not looking good for them right now, all while we're about to have this parade coming up. And I do have some information on the upcoming parade here in just the next, 4 days now. So we'll talk more about Russia's economy starting out this video. We also have reports that Ukraine is launching a new incursion into the Kursk region. Once again, it looks like they're trying to go after the Glushkovki district, which we've talked about this district before. It's on the southwestern portion of the Kursk region. We have video footage of Ukrainian mine-clearing vehicles that have entered across the border and broken through some of the landmines that are planted there on the border, and also the Russians have dragon's teeth. So it looks like the Ukrainians are now starting to push into that area. There's been reports of heavy firefights in that area. So we'll show you that information here in just a little bit as well. And then we're also going to show you guys some video footage today coming out from Moscow over the night. Looks like the Moscow region was being attacked by Ukrainian drones last night, and I'm thinking maybe Ukraine was trying to test Russia's air defense systems over there to see how many they have active. So we did have some explosions in the Moscow region. So let's go ahead and start jumping into all the news here, guys. Lots of stuff to cover today. We're going to hop on over here to a mainstream news report. We have this here from RBC Ukraine. Ukrainian intelligence predicts looming economic crisis in Russia. You can see the date here was Saturday, May 3rd, 2025. This is still being reported even today, though, on Monday on the 5th. So it says here the Foreign Intelligence Service of Ukraine predicts that Russia is on the brink of an economic crisis, the Telegram channel of the Ukrainian intelligence reports. According to the spy agency, next week the Russian State Duma will review a government bill to revise federal budget indicators. The main reason for such urgent action is the imbalance between the revenue and expenditure sides of the budget. In particular, the growing negative trends in Russia's economy are the result of significant excess of expenditures over revenue. That means they're spending more money than what they take in through revenue from all their citizens and taxes and whatnot, primarily due to the need to finance the war in Ukraine. Due to the imbalance, the Russian government is forced to revise the 2025 federal budget by increasing its deficit by 250% from 12 to 42 billion US dollars. At the same time, the Russian Ministry of Finance declares that the projected GDP growth remains unchanged at 2.5%, explaining its reasoning with the expected increase in non-oil revenues, the statement says. As the Foreign Intelligence Service of Ukraine explained, in reality, this means an unprecedented increase in the tax burden on businesses in the history of modern Russia. To normalize the economic situation, the Russian government plans to increase revenue from personal income tax by 180%, corporate income tax by 110%, and value-added tax by 17%. This comes as up to 30% of small and medium-sized businesses in Russia already on the verge of bankruptcy. By the end of 2025, the figure is expected to rise to 30%. Isn't that crazy, guys? By the end of the year, 50% of small and medium-sized businesses on the verge of bankruptcy. On top of that, taxing their citizens to oblivion here. Insane, guys. According to a statement by Russian Finance Minister Anton Siluanov, the priorities of the Russian budget remain unchanged. All national development goals will be achieved regardless of external conditions and factors. However, the finance minister omits that fact that more than 30% of the Russian budget's revenue depends on oil exports. In the first quarter of 2025, Ural's crude oil significantly dropped in price, the Ukrainian spy agency writes. As of today, purchases of Russian oil in the ports of Primorsk and Novorossiysk are fluctuating between 47 and 49 US dollars per barrel, while the budget was based on a price of $69.7 per barrel. Okay, so what we've been seeing recently is the price of oil has just been really plummeting over the last couple weeks. It's expected to even drop even further, I believe. And OPEC out of the Middle East, they've stated that they are ready for a decrease in prices. They have actually started to increase their output of production of oil instead of doing the opposite, which would be decreasing their production of output of oil to kind of support the price of oil. So that means oil prices are going to continue to drop in the near future. Thus, Russia's oil and gas revenues could drop by up to 30% annually, or $30 to $40 billion, which essentially equals to projected budget deficit for this year. In the context of manipulated official statistics, the same applies to the inflation rate. The Russian government projects it at 7.6%, while our estimates suggest that actual inflation in Russia already exceeds 20%, the Ukrainian intelligence agency concluded. Finally, it talks here about slowing growth of Russian economy. Recently, The Economist wrote that while U.S. President Donald Trump may have a favorable view of Russian dictator Vladimir Putin, his tariff policy has hit the Kremlin leader in the teeth. In particular, since the end of 2024, a sharp decline has emerged in the Russian economy. Annual growth rates have dropped from 5% to around zero. Okay, so it's not looking good for Russia's economy. So they've got high inflation going on right now. They have a very extreme budget deficit happening as well, where they're spending much more money for this war versus the amount of revenue they're taking in. And then on top of that, their growth rates have dropped from 5% to around zero. Okay, so it doesn't look good for the Russian economy at all, and it's going to continue to get worse as we move forward. Okay, so now we're going to jump on over to X, and I've got lots of things to share with you over here. We're going to continue talking about Russia's economy just a little bit more. I have a few posts here that I want to show you guys. This one from Slava. Putin is unable to stop the war without serious political consequences for Russia, according to Bild. Bild is a magazine out of Germany. This is due to the fact that Russia has not yet achieved its military goals. The defense industry is bloated with gigantic investments. Hundreds of thousands of Russians earn well from the war. All this makes it very difficult for Putin to reach a compromise, the article says. Meanwhile, despite the increase in military spending, the Russian economy is showing signs of weakening. According to domestic economists, industrial production outside the defense sector is approaching recession. Output in such industries as food, coal, metallurgy, and machine building is declining. The only exception is the defense industrial complex, which actually hides the scale of economic problems. According to experts, a separate threat to Putin's regime is war veterans. Many of them, upon returning to the front, can become a source of social instability, especially in regions with low living standards and limited economic prospects. Okay, so here's a little picture coming out, a little meme that was created saying, "I'm done," and it's Putin's face here. So yeah, more signs here that Russia's economy is in the toilet. They're going to be entering recession potentially very soon, and just complete collapse of the Russian economy right now. It's not looking good, and at the same time, Russia can't even pull out of this war now, is what it seems. At least based on the data that's starting to come out from the West here. So, is Russia's economy going to continue to decline here in the near future? Are they going to be forced to end this war? I mean, just the price of oil has got to be hurting them heavily right now, and they're going to be losing a lot of economic revenue for their nation, which helps them fight this war. So let me know what you guys think about that information there. Now take a look at this from Evgen Istrebin. Brent fell to $59. Russia's economy is like a steam locomotive flying full speed into a concrete wall. Okay, so take a look at this graph on how much crude oil Brent, has fallen from around February, or beginning of the year around January until now. Okay, it's gone down from about $82 all the way down to $59, and it's expected to potentially even drop even further. And the more that this continues to go down, Russia's going to lose a lot of revenue. Okay, and like that article stated just a little bit ago, that most of Russia's economy is based on the sale of oil. Okay, so if they can't sell oil at a high price, they can potentially not fight this war anymore, and this war is costing them big time. Okay. So now let's move on to talk about the Kursk region now from Nexta. Kursk region, are you sleeping? Ukrainian forces are reportedly advancing on border areas of Russia's Kursk region, according to Z channels and locals. Fighting was reported near the village of Tyatkino in the morning, later confirmed by major pro-war Russian channels. Battles are ongoing for the village of Novi Put. Some reports say Ukrainian troops blew up a bridge near Zvanoy to hinder Russian movements. Okay, so this is kind of a map showing this area. So Tetkino, we've talked about this before. This entire area has been attacked multiple times in the past. It looks like Ukraine is trying to disrupt the Kursk region once again. And I have a feeling that they're launching this offensive right now, so that way Russia can't come out during their parade and say, well, we've completely captured the Kursk region, because if Ukraine makes some other major breakthrough, that's going to make Putin look really bad, during this Victory Day parade. On top of that, he's not even going to be attending it in person, as Ukraine could possibly attack the parade, okay? So that's going to make Putin look very bad, and I think that's what Ukraine's trying to do here. Now from Grayskull, Russian channels are reporting a new Ukrainian incursion into Kursk. Okay, so that same area right here. Here's the city of Tyatkino. This is the entire Glushkovsky district right here. There used to be multiple bridges here, at least 3 of them, that Ukraine was trying to destroy before, and this is where they were attacking more over here to the east during the previous incursion, and they were trying to make their way west over here and take over this back months ago. But now it looks like Ukraine's trying to open up a new incursion here again. Here's that information off of Telegram. It says here, Kursk region, Glushkovsky district. At the moment, the situation is gradually making attempts to become tense. The enemy strike from all guns on the settlement of Tetkino. Up to 5 people of the Ukrainian armed forces were detected in the area of the railway station, where there was a firefight. As a result, the enemy retreated to its territory in the settlement of Rezevka. In addition, the enemy blew up a bridge near the settlement of Zvanoy. The activity is connected with further actions that we know. We are waiting for news. Okay, so not too much information yet, but reports that Ukraine is starting to push into the Kursk region in the Glushkovsky district again. Here's another report from Michael McKay. Ukrainian forces have made new incursions into Kursk region. Russian Federation. They're advancing towards the town of Tyatkino and village of Vesely. Okay, so these are the 2 areas here. Mostly Tyatkino is what we're getting a lot of information on right now, but allegedly the Ukrainians are pushing into this town here, Vesely, before. Just months back, they actually took over the settlement at one point, and eventually Ukraine got pushed out of these areas. So let's see what happens here. Are we going to have a new front opening up here in the Kursk region again in the Glushkovsky district, and will Ukraine be able to completely secure the Glushkovsky district? We'll have to see what happens here, okay? So this is the border of Ukraine right here, this kind of purplish line. Ukrainian territory down here, Russian territory. This is all the Kursk region, okay? So we'll find out what happens here soon. Now from Claretta Nihuis. Kursk in rainy weather, Ukrainians are clearing a path for a breakthrough east of Tyatkino in the Glushkovsky district near the village of Novi Put. Mine-clearing vehicles clear passages through minefields and Dragon's Teeth. Okay, so take a look at this video here. This is recorded from a Ukrainian drone. We can see these mine-clearing vehicles have crossed through the Dragon's Teeth over here. I'm assuming that other side of the Dragon's Teeth is probably Ukrainian territory. They've broken through that and are now starting to clear this area of mines. And we've got a clear path for Ukrainian vehicles to make a breakthrough into the Glushkovsky district. This is just east of Tyatkino in southwestern Kursk region, okay? Now for Max 24, Ukrainian mine-breaching vehicles in Kursk region. According to Russians, some vehicles unfortunately were destroyed, okay? Here's a couple of pictures coming out showing these mine-clearing vehicles that were entering into the Kursk region of Russia. Looks like there was multiples of them, but based on this information, looks like some of them may have been destroyed in an attempt to clear some of the mines. So here's a good picture right here showing that. If you can kind of see, there's like a white line right here. Those are all Dragon's Teeth. And this is when Ukraine was allegedly breaking through right here into the Kursk region using these mine-clearing vehicles, okay? So we'll wait to see what's going to happen. Maybe we'll get some big news here in the next 24 to 48 hours that Ukraine has now launched a massive offensive over here in this area to disrupt the Kursk region. So now from Bliskovka, the Air Force struck an enemy control center in Kursk region. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine reported Russian crews of unmanned reconnaissance and attack drones were based there. As a result of the strike, up to 20 occupants were killed and their equipment destroyed. Okay, so it looks like we had a massive strike onto the Kursk region. This just happened today, actually. The information here coming out 8:30 a.m. this morning, okay? So just a little bit before I started recording this for you guys is when this information was breaking. So it looks like up to 20 Russian soldiers were taken out, and they were crews of unmanned reconnaissance and attack drones, okay? So major hit over here in the Kursk region. Now for Military News UA, thanks to our active actions in Kursk, we managed to prevent the enemy from launching an offensive campaign in Sumy and Kharkiv regions. The buffer zone that the Defense Forces of Ukraine created in the border areas remains relevant today. Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Sursky, following the results of the 9-month operation in Kursk region, the Commander-in-Chief noted that an enemy that outnumbers you can only be defeated by unconventional moves, and the Kursk operation was just such a surprise for the enemy. Ukraine has shown that it is capable of counterattacking, beating, and driving the enemy, including on its own soil, the commander-in-chief wrote. Okay, so this was a statement coming out from Sursky today, the commander of Ukraine's armed forces. So he was thanking all the actions of Ukraine's military when they originally launched that incursion into the Kursk region. And I almost wonder if he's saying this today as Ukraine is preparing another offensive over there. Let's see what happens. Maybe they're going to make a major breakthrough and we'll have another huge attack onto the Kursk region, and Russia's going to be back at square one again, dealing with Ukraine on their own territory, okay? Now from Chuck Farr, Moscow hit despite massive air defense. Last night, Ukrainian drones attacked targets in the Moscow region. As Putin prepares for his victory event, concentrations of Russian combat vehicles and troops are staged throughout the city, making it a target-rich environment. Okay, so this was a picture coming out of explosions all across Moscow last night. There was a report of an explosion possibly due to a gas cylinder that maybe wasn't from an attack from Ukrainian drone, but I do have video today that does show what appears to be explosions in the Moscow area. So this was a picture just coming out showing fires all over the place in a Moscow suburb, and potentially due to Ukrainian drones crashing over there. Now from next, a deadly explosion rocks Moscow apartment block. A powerful explosion tore through a residential building in southwest Moscow on General Lenev Street, sparking a massive fire that engulfed multiple apartments on the 9th floor. The blast caused a partial floor collapse between levels. At least 2 people have been confirmed dead, with 15 injured and 5 still trapped on upper floors, calling for help as firefighters battle smoke and flames. Okay, so I've got a video I can show you guys here. We'll go ahead and let this play. So some sort of fire broke out over here. Was it due to Ukrainian drones? I mean, maybe it could have been, because we did have drones entering up over here and exploding. But there was some other sources that were sharing the same information, stating that maybe it could have been a gas cylinder that had exploded. I mean, we know a lot of infrastructure inside of Russia is completely failing, and Russia is not upkeeping on a lot of their infrastructure in their nation right now because all their money is going to this war effort. So that's possibly what this could be as well. We've been seeing a lot of explosions and just critical infrastructure failing all over Russia recently. So massive fire there reported. Now for Jay in Kiev, Ukraine's drones of liberty paid a visit to Moscow last night. So I've got a 16-second clip with sound. I believe you will hear an explosion here. Drones entering into Moscow last night. Take a look.
Слышите? Ебать нахуй. Это пизда.
All right, so we definitely heard that massive explosion there from a drone incoming to the Moscow region last night. Not sure exactly what was hit, but multiple drones were entering up into this area. And again, I think the reason why Ukraine was doing this was to test, to kind of see where Russia's air defense systems are set up at. Maybe they're preparing some sort of massive attack onto Moscow. Who really knows here? Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Yeah, it was a video coming out from Moscow today. Now for more translated, last night, some unidentified drones, attacked the Moscow suburbs. The carpet security plan was activated at Nukovo and Domodedovo airports. Russia's claimed that 4 UAVs were shot down over the Moscow region, everything going according to plan. They're just getting ready for the parade. So I've got a video here also, guys, about 1 minute long. You're not going to hear any explosions, but you will hear drones flying overhead of some of the citizens in the Moscow region. Take a look at this.
Где-то жужжит он там. Вон куда-то туда полетел. Ни хрена не вижу, так слышно. Сейчас где-то шлепнет. На Москву пошел. Правее уходит туда. Или газон косится, не знаю. Вон там, справа. В сторону станки туда же все хуярить будут как будто. Ебать, все ближе и ближе, уже страшно. Вот он, ебать, он в поле просто.
Где-то жужжит он там.
Okay, guys, so nothing really super exciting to see here, but nonetheless, we did have drones entering over to the Moscow regions. Just wanted to share that with you guys. You can see from the perspective of Russian nationals that were there near the Moscow region, we had drones entering over there, okay? So let's go ahead and move on to another update now for military news UA. Russia has canceled this year's victory parade and temporarily occupied Sevastopol due to security concerns. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the victory parade a little bit, and that looks like Russia is starting to panic. And what we're seeing here is down in Sevastopol in Crimea. Apparently, they hold a parade down there. I actually wasn't aware of that. I thought they only did this in Moscow. But apparently, the victory parade in Sevastopol has now been canceled due to a potential attack from Ukraine. I actually thought this was going to be Moscow at first that was going to be canceled. That would have been huge if Ukraine was able to force Russia to cancel a annual parade that they have over there. That's very important for the Russian people. But yeah, it looks like in Sevastopol it will be canceled, okay? So now from Null reports, rumors unconfirmed suggest that Russia has deployed 280 air defense units for the 9th May parade in Moscow, with additional systems from Kazan and Grozny. The defense includes Dawn 2N and Nebo M radars, S-400s and Panzer S-1 and TOR M2 on rooftops. If true, this is panic mode. I would have to agree with that. I think Russia is in panic mode. If they happen to be deploying so many air defense systems over to Moscow, they are definitely concerned that Ukraine is going to attack it. The Ukrainian president Volodymyr Zelensky came out late last week and he said that he could not guarantee the safety of any of the world leaders that choose to attend this parade from around the world in Moscow. So that's possibly indicating that Ukraine is going to attack it. We'll see what happens here soon, but definitely looks like Russia is starting to panic. Now, for more translated, Russian media report that in a stunning display of coordination, all mobile operators in Moscow decided to take a break exactly when the Victory Day parade rehearsal was underway. Starting at 11 a.m. Moscow time, subscribers of Beeline, Megafon, MTS, Tele2, and Yoda across several major Russian cities suddenly found themselves in a digital blackout. Unsurprisingly, most complaints came from Moscow because what's a military parade without a little radio silence? Apparently, the mobile network collapsed right on cue with the parade rehearsal planned for May 9th in honor of Victory Day. One might say the networks were just paying tribute by disappearing. Okay, so this is big information too. Looks like even a lot of mobile operators are going to be starting to go down to potentially protect the parade, as Ukraine could maybe take advantage of these, utilize it to their advantage and attack the parade. And we're even hearing that even internet is going to be down during the Moscow parade as well. So definitely Russia is in panic mode right now. They're expecting Ukraine to do something. So that's some huge news today. Now for Max 24, here's a report off Telegram. And it says here, internet access may be restricted in order to ensure the safety of the festive events. And it says here also, for Moscow will remain without internet for the entire week, according to RSCHS. Due to the festive events, mobile communications are being jammed in the center and other areas. The first shutdowns have already begun today due to the parade rehearsal. So even during the rehearsal, they're already trying to shut down internet and jam mobile communications, so that way Ukraine can't utilize it to attack this parade. So again, I think something is going to happen here. We'll see. We got a few more days left before it begins, but I'm sure Ukraine is definitely preparing for something, and I think that's why they launched these drones into Moscow last night. Now from Jurgen Nonitz, even the clown Lukashenko will be late and most likely won't even attend the May 9th parade in Moscow. Perhaps it has something to do with the weather forecast for May 9th. We may never know. So Jurgen Nonitz throwing a joke in there. So yeah, even Alexander Lukashenko, the president of Belarus, saying he's going to be late to the parade. He apologized to Putin apparently. Maybe it's due to something like this. We're going to see a massive explosion over here and an attack on the parade. But a lot of world leaders really starting to step out and say they can't show up no more after Ukraine's president put out that statement last week saying he could not guarantee their safety. So I think we will see something happen over here, okay? Now for more translated, Zelensky, we know who we're dealing with. Russia may stage provocations on May 9th. It's their style. They talk of a partial ceasefire, but today's assaults are the most intense in months. Okay, so this was a statement coming out from Volodymyr Zelensky today. He was meeting with the Czech Republic President Peter Pavel, And so Zelensky stating that they're expecting Russia to stage some sort of provocation. There were some reports of maybe terrorist attacks that might take place inside of Russia to try to blame it on Ukraine and drum up support for this war. Looks like something big is going to go down on May 9th. We just don't know exactly what's going to happen right now. Could it be from Ukraine? Could it be from Russia? Could it be from both sides? But it looks like something big is going to go down. Now for military news UA, the European Union is ready to double military support to Ukraine by purchasing weapons from Ukrainian manufacturers, thereby significantly increasing its volume. European Union Commissioner for Defense and Space, Andrius Kibilius, if I'm saying that right. So apparently the EU is going to be doubling their military support for Ukraine. They're going to be doing so by directly investing in Ukrainian manufacturers. And that's very big. I think that's something that we're going to see continue to go on down the road. We heard the U.S. is supposed to be supporting with that, with this whole minerals deal. They're going to be really helping out Ukraine to get a lot of companies to jump on board with Ukrainian manufacturers and help them boost their own defense industry and invest directly inside of Ukraine. So that's very, very big news coming out today. Now for Bliskovka, the West seeks to agree to provide Ukraine with additional Patriot systems before the NATO summit in late June, according to Reuters. Potential suppliers include the United States and Greece. Okay, here's a report from Reuters today. Allies seek deal on more Patriots for Kiev before NATO summit, source says. Okay, so potentially more Patriot systems may be going to Ukraine very soon in the next few months, and looks like the West is trying to get this agreement to provide multiple Patriots air defense systems for Ukraine before the NATO summit in June. Okay, so that's literally just next month. So we could be hearing more about that this week or in the next coming weeks. Now from Bliskovka, Ukraine will receive one American Patriot, which was previously based in Israel, according to New York Times. In addition, Western allies are discussing the transfer of another system from Germany or Greece. Thus, with one Israeli and one German, Ukraine will have a total of 10 Patriots. Okay, so here's a report today. Looks like the Wall Street Journal reported this. More American air defense is on the way to help Ukraine. Patriot air defense system is moving from Israel to Ukraine, and Western allies are discussing the logistics of getting Germany and Greece to send another. So yeah, at least one coming from Israel here very soon, and maybe another coming from either Germany or Greece. Let's see what happens here, but Ukraine will be getting more of these, and will have potentially a total of 10 Patriots, which is very good for them. I think they want to have somewhere around 15 or more at some point in the near future. This will help better defend their skies from Russian attacks, okay? Now from Bliskovka, if Trump fails to convince Putin to negotiate peace, the EU may increase military aid to Ukraine. This was announced by EU Commissioner for Defense and Space, Andrius Kubilius. Kubilius noted that the EU and the US provide Ukraine with about $40 billion in military aid annually, but the same money can be used to buy weapons in Ukraine twice as cheaply as in the EU or the US. This would effectively double the amount of aid, raising it to its real value of $80 billion. Okay, so if we don't see this war come to an end, we might see the EU massively increase their military aid to Ukraine. And again, just like we talked about, directly investing in Ukrainian manufacturers, which will benefit Ukraine much more, and it's more cheaper for them to do so. So we're going to see huge investment going into Ukraine here very soon. And most likely, we're not going to see this war come to an end. We've been kind of seeing a lot of indication on that. So now from Bliskovka, unknown individuals shot dead 3 police officers in Makhachkala, if I'm saying that right, Russian media report. According to eyewitnesses, there were 2 attackers. They stole a company car. They are being sought. So yeah, some sort of attack took place here in Makhachkala. This is down in southwestern Russia, close to the Caspian Sea, very close to Azerbaijan as well. Some sort of attack took place over here, and we had police officers in a gunfight with unknown gunmen. So take a look at this. Okay, so something crazy went down over here. Not too many details on this just yet, but definitely some sort of firefight going on here with the police in the area. Again, down here, very close to Azerbaijan. So if I get more information on this event, I'll let you guys know. But potentially here, just some sort of criminal activity going on is what I'm thinking. May not be in relation to the war in Ukraine. Now from Nexta, bad news for the Kremlin. Boris Pistorius will remain Germany's defense minister in the new government. As the most popular member of Scholz's cabinet, Pistorius has been one of the strongest advocates for rebuilding the German army and stepping up military support for Ukraine. He also firmly rejected Trump's latest peace plan, calling it a disguised surrender. Ukraine could have had that a year ago by capitulating. Okay, so very good news for Ukraine and bad news for Russia. Boris Pistorius is going to stick in the position of defense minister under the new government. That should be changing, I think, as soon as tomorrow on the 6th. And we should have the new chancellor, Friedrich Merz, stepping into his position. And yeah, it's good news for Germany, too, because that means they're going to increase the size of their military, increase their defense spending, and on top of that, increase support for Ukraine. So that's very, very big news for Ukraine today. Now from Max 24, the EU plans to ban all Russian gas imports, including pipeline and liquefied natural gas, under new and existing contracts by the end of 2027, according to Bloomberg. This is a very, very big report because we've been hearing that recently maybe the EU might start to purchase Russian gas once again, pipeline, liquefied natural gas, whatnot. From Russia, even though they are purchasing lots of gas still from Russia right now. But it looks like they're planning to ban all Russian gas imports by 2027. Okay, that's just literally the next year and a half. And that's going to definitely hurt the Russian economy down the road. And now, will that hurt Europe as well? It probably will. But I'm sure Europe's been making moves to try to get ready for that. They've been talking about this for a very long time. This was a huge report that just came out today. So that's going to be major economic damage to Russia's economy also. Now from next, Lithuania proposes a 1 billion euro defense line on the border with Russia and Belarus, named after Vytautas the Great, if I'm saying that right. According to Delphi, the conservative Homeland Union Party suggests building fortified lines with anti-personnel mines, anti-tank ditches, mobile armored units, and long-range artillery, to counter potential threats. Europe is digging in. The Baltics are preparing for the worst. Okay, so more signs. The Baltic nations are getting ready for a war with Russia. So 1 billion euro defense line that they're preparing to build on the border with Russia and Belarus. So a lot of countries over here, like Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, they're all getting ready for a major war here with Russia at some point in the future. And this is more sign of that today, okay? They're preparing to build fortified lines across the border with Belarus and Russia. Now for the Ukrainian Review. GUR shot down 2 Su-30 with AIM-9 Sidewinder infrared guided air-to-air missiles fired by Magura-7 drone boats, Budanov told the War Zone. Budanov said that the crew of the first Su-30 survived and was picked up in the Black Sea by a civilian ship. Preliminary reports say the crew of the second jet was killed, he added. Okay, so on Saturday, I reported to you guys that an Su-30 was apparently shot down from a Magura V5 naval drone. Looks like we had a second one actually apparently being confirmed to be shot down. According to Ukraine's intelligence, this is Kirill Budanov, the head of their Ukrainian intelligence directorate. So yeah, he's stating that apparently a second Su-30 was apparently shot down as well. So you guys can let me know what you think on that. If that's true, that is huge that 2 of them were shot down from naval drones. Now from Slava, the first photo of a Ukrainian surface-to-air drone, Magura, equipped with American AIM-9 Sidewinders air-to-air missiles, which shot down 2 of Putin's Su-30s, has been announced. Okay, so here's officially a picture of one of these Magura V5s with the Sidewinder missiles that are attached to the top of it that are used to take down air targets. Yeah, allegedly this thing shot down 2 Su-30s just over the last couple days. So that is very, very big news. And the first photo we've been able to see here, it's actually a good photo too. It's very clear. Now from the Kyiv Independent, we have allies who are helping Ukraine. Kyiv expects 3 million shells, Zelensky says. Ukraine expects 3 million artillery shells from its allies, President Vladimir Zelensky said on May 4th. Okay, this was reported today by the Kyiv Independent. You can see here. So apparently, Ukraine is expecting 3 million shells just this year that are artillery shells they use in this fight. And I think just 1.8 million of them come from the Czech Republic. That was also stated today while he was meeting with Peter Pavel, the president of the Czech Republic today. So yeah, a lot of artillery shells flowing into Ukraine. That is huge that they have so many, because if you guys remember, just last year, there was many times where Ukraine was running low on artillery shells. That has not been talked about at all. Looks like Ukraine has plenty of them at this time. Now for Bliskovka, Air Defense Forces of Ukraine shot down 42 of 116 Russian UAVs. Another 21 Russian imitator UAVs were lost without any negative consequences. The enemy also attacked Sumy region with 2 Iskander-M KN-23 ballistic missiles. So yeah, allegedly we had some ballistic missiles striking inside of Ukraine last night. I was not able to get that information on what was damaged, but we did have some ballistic missiles going into Ukraine. But 116 Russian drones flown into Ukraine last night as well. Not too many reports on damage. Looks like a good majority, if not half or more, were either shot down or brought down by electronic warfare. So there's your daily update on the amount of drones going into Ukraine. Now, finally, the Kyiv Independent. These are the indicative estimates of Russia's combat losses as of May 5th, according to the Armed Forces of Ukraine. All right, guys, last update here. Russia's losses as of May 5th, 1,260 troops, 8 AFVs, 109 vehicles and fuel tanks, 5 tanks, 43 artillery systems, 137 UAVs, 1 MLRS, and it looks like that is it. Okay, so once again, I'm kind of seeing just low numbers here across the board, really not a whole lot of equipment being destroyed, and what we've been seeing on the front line is Russia's not really making any gains, so that makes me think that's why we're seeing such low numbers here, and it's been pretty much the same over the last week. And same with these troop losses, right around 1,200 or so is what we've been seeing on average. Okay, so just want to give you guys that update there. And lots of big news coming out from this war. And I apologize, was a longer video today, guys. So much information that I wanted to cram in here for you, let you know what's going on with this war. But thank you so much if you stuck till the end of this video. And if you got anything out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.